Hi, I'm Miss Linda. I'm going to be covering the Nail Technician State Board NIC test today. We will be covering all 7 domains. Take a look. We are going to begin with work area, client preparation, and setup of supplies. For State Board video purposes, we have this bag on a manicuring table just to demonstrate what the content is. And typically this bag will be on the floor and stay on the floor throughout your procedures. I will be removing your trash bag. Make sure that you set the trash bag up to have a wide opening. That way you do not mess with the trash can during your procedure. I'm going to sanitize my hands so that I can remove my gloves, making sure my hands are pretty dry so you don't struggle when you're putting your gloves on. Anytime you open a bottle or a bag, you need to close it. You have 15 minutes for everything that you are going to be doing. Work area, client preparation, and setup of supplies. Okay. Removing my disinfectant wipes. I'm just going to close that. I'm not going to zip it because they know you have to continue to remove your items. Sanitizing my manicuring table and my back counter and my stool. I'm going to place this there, remove my gloves. Sanitize my hands and remove my universal supplies. So your duffel bag is considered dry storage, and it is therefore considered to be clean. Any bags that you use throughout your service, you'll be throwing them in the trash. If you don't touch the trash can, then you do not have to sanitize your hands. I'm removing my disinfectant container and my manicure procedure. Closing my bag. I will now put it on the floor, and I will be putting it underneath my back counter when you're at the State Board. Here are my manicuring supplies. First thing you want to do is set up your towel. Your SMA. You have paper towels. Manicuring bowl. I'm going to put these in the order that I'll be using them. Water, cuticle remover, cuticle oil, lotion, polish remover, water, cuticle remover, cuticle oil, lotion, nail cleanser, and polish remover. Here are my polishes. So I have my base coat, top coat, and red polish. Closing my container. I'm going to move my chair with my foot. I don't want to touch it. So I can sit down. And now we're going to proceed with the manicuring after the examiner indicates that you are allowed to. So you'll sanitize your hands and wait for instruction. Now we are going to proceed with the manicure and polish application. I'm going to sanitize my hands and get my cotton and Q-tips. Put them on my station. You want to get enough to you want to get enough for the procedure. Okay, I'm going to sanitize my client's hands. You want to make sure that you do not touch any nozzles to your hand or any of your bottles you have to pour onto the product, onto your tips or cotton. When you file, you're going to file corner to center. Now remember, this is an emery board, so filing technique should not be aggressive. It should be as if you are working on a natural nail plate. Corner to center. You can move your fingers to make them comfortable. Your manicuring hand will come with nail prep. The length of the nails are pretty close to what I have here on my hand, so they're not very long, but long enough to do tip blending, sculptured nail, and nail remover. So pretty much I'm just doing a 𝗦𝗃𝗯𝗃 shape, keeping it simple. Now I'm getting ready to toss my file into my trash can. If my trash can was not open all the way and I touched the trash bag, I would have to sanitize. You can sanitize every time you throw something, or if you don't touch the bag, you don't have to. You can just continue and proceed. I'm going to pour my water into my bowl. You don't want too much, just enough. I'm going to immerse my hand into my bowl, making sure you demonstrate that all the fingers are in the bowl, including the thumb. Grabbing a paper towel and wiping it so that it's not dripping all over your 𝗦𝗪𝐶𝐴. I will be pouring over my bag and onto my Q-tip, closing my bottle and applying product. You don't need to massage in with your fingers because you don't want to get it on the skin. So this would be the ideal method. Okay. I will be doing clockwise and counterclockwise circular motions, demonstrating the removal of the cuticle on the nail plate. You want to keep your metal pusher parallel to the floor. You don't want to have a high degree because that may demonstrate scraping. So keep it low, clockwise and counterclockwise. Now, keeping your table free of debris, make sure you wipe off your metal pusher. Grab a paper towel. You can tear it in half if it's pretty thick, and you can put it back on your SMA. I will be cleaning under the free edge with my nail cleanser. Nail cleanser. Grabbing my brush, dipping my brush in the water, and over the bowl I'm wiping off remaining product. Keeping my brush there, wiping off the fingers and remaining product. So now I'm going to buff. You do not need to be aggressive. Just demonstrate that you are doing all 5 fingers. And this is the time to get any of the nail fibers from the free edge. Tossing that, sanitizing. I didn't touch the bag, but I'm going to sanitize anyway. I'm going to grab my cuticle oil. Cuticle oil. Now for me, I'm going to put the lotion in my hand. Don't pour too much because it's not a real hand. Demonstrating circular motions. Do it 2 or 3 times. Go up the hand and down the wrist. Bringing the palm up. Circular motions throughout the palm. Go ahead and do it 2 or 3 times. Rotating the fingers while embracing the hand. Doing some tapotement. Feathering off. Now I'm going to sanitize my hands because I won't be able to open up the bottle. Grabbing a paper towel. You can grab as many as you need. I'm going to cleanse the nail plate. Wipe up additional lotion residue. Now she's ready for polish. applying my base coat. You will only do 1 coat of each. Leave a tiny free margin away from the 𝗦𝗹𝗪𝗃𝗃𝗃 area. You do not want to get the red polish underneath that, because after your manicure procedure, you will have 5 minutes to remove your red polish to get ready for your second client. You want to make sure that you demonstrate each of the procedure in the order that a manicure should be done. This procedure is 20 minutes. And typically the average student can get it done in about 12. So if you take a little longer, that's okay. You have 20 minutes. And don't turn the hand until you are completely satisfied with your work. If you turn the hand, you cannot return it back for you to fix something. So make sure you are finished with your work. Now we're completing the surface with top coat. If you get polish on the skin, you can take a Q-tip or your orange wood stick and try and remove it. Make sure you're not smearing it all over. That may indicate that you have product on the skin. Closing your bottles. If you did not throw your nail file away or your buffer, then this would be the time to do so. I'm not going to be throwing away my cotton just yet, because will have 5 minutes to remove the red polish when the examiner indicates that it is time to remove the red polish. I'm pretty satisfied with my hand, so I'm going to turn it around to the inspector to indicate that I have finished. If everyone that is testing has indicated they have finished, then the inspector will announce everyone has indicated that they are finished. We will stop the procedure. So this concludes the manicure and polish application. So the examiner has indicated that we now have 5 minutes to remove our red polish. So I'll be grabbing my nail polish remover. Make sure you saturate your cotton well. Keep it on for a few seconds. Wipe down. Try not to rub back and forth so you don't get it all over the place. You can get more cotton. You don't want to keep the cotton too long so it doesn't eat up your tip. I'm going to use one more. The red polish is removed. So now we will be preparing for client 2. So we'll be doing a tear down and a re-setup of work area, client preparation, and setup of supplies. This concludes the manicure and polish application with polish removal. We will now be conducting our work area and client preparation and setup of supplies for the rest of your domains. You'll be removing all these items: your nail brush, your metal pusher, your disposables will go into the trash. I will be soaking up the water bowl. If you put too much water in the bowl, you can grab your SMA because it's larger, and just continue to remove the water. You have 10 minutes for your second client. You will not be using your lotion, your polish remover, your water, or your cuticle remover. That will go into items to be disinfected, your nail polishes, making sure that everything's closed. You will have your nail cleanser and cuticle oil. And your soiled linen bag goes into, your towel goes into your soiled linen bag, which is right on the floor. You don't want to put it in front of your manicuring table. You want to put it off to the side because you do not want her to slip and fall. So closing that up, putting the hand over here, I am now going to disinfect the table. I sanitized my hands to remove my gloves. If you poke a hole in your glove, you will have to get another glove, okay? So because your wipes are considered EPA barbicide disinfectant wipes, you have to make sure that you do not come in contact with the solution. So make sure your gloves are intact. sanitizing the manicuring table and my chair. Cleaning all the containers that you have been in contact with or not in contact with. My table's disinfected and now my bottles are. My cotton and Q-tip bag. My extra bag of gloves. My hand sanitizing bottle. My manicure container. And I will be tossing these extra paper towels in the trash and grabbing my disinfectant wipe. And cleaning my back counter. On your back counter, you will have a binder. Your binder is something that you will not touch. It is only for you to read the directions when you are reading them along with the inspector. So pulling out my table, which is acting as my floor, to remove my second client setup. So I'm going to sanitize my hands and I'm going to pull out my second client. Setting that on the table, closing my bag back up, putting it underneath. Items to be disinfected, manicure, first aid kit, Q-tips, my gloves, put my hand back down, and my wipes. Setting up my new towel. With my SMA. I have additional paper towels. The rest will go on my back counter. Put my hand. I have sculptured nail, sculpture removal, tip blending, my soak-off bowl. Your second client bag will go into the trash. And you will set up all of your supplies. Make sure you set them up according to the procedure that you will be doing first, which will be tip blending. Your bag goes into the trash. I'm going to set up my glue, metal pusher that you don't have to use, my buffer, my tips, and my file. Sculptured nail. My acrylic brush, my file. I added these for wiping my brush, my forms, another metal orange wood stick, monomer and polymer, another metal pusher that you will not use, and my sculpture removal. You will have a choice of foil. The State Board kit does not come with cotton back foils. The ones I have, I do have those. And you have your soaker bowl, if that's your choice, and the acetone to do sculpture removal. So this is my table setup for the remaining 3 domains. The last procedure is blood exposure. You will wait, you'll have a seat and wait for the examiner to give you instructions on when to begin. This concludes work area, client preparation, and its setup of supplies. We will begin our nail tip application and tip blending. This is a 20-minute procedure. I will sanitize my hands and sanitize my client's hands. The inspector has indicated that the index finger is the finger that I will be showing tip blending on. So I'm going to lift that up a bit. I'm going to size my tip or my index finger first. Okay. I'm going to remove the shine. I need my cotton and Q-tips. I'm going to take out enough for all my 3 procedures in case I need them. You have to remember all 3 procedures will be done on the same client. I'm removing dust with nail cleanser. Now I am now showing cleansing the nail, dehydrating, prepping the nail for the tip. So I removed the dust, and now I removed any oil with nail dehydrator. If you put too much glue, go ahead and tap it to release them. You do not want to have adhesive all over the skin. Holding it in place, making sure there's no air bubbles. I will be trimming and shaping the tip. Making sure it is on completely. Making sure the side walls are even with my tip blending. You want to get it as flush and smooth as possible, but not too much that you go right through the tip. Making sure you have it flush with the nail plate. You can feel it. Making sure I don't need my file, I'm tossing it, and now I'm using my buffer to blend. So this concludes the demonstration for tip blending and nail tip application. Turn the hand towards the examiner to indicate you have finished. Make sure you don't turn it back. Dispose of any used items that you may have on your table before you turn your hand. We are now going to continue with sculpture nail, which is 20 minutes. I'm going to sanitize my hands, sanitize my client's hands. The examiner has indicated that I will be showing sculpture nail on the middle finger. So I'm going to remove the shine from the nail plate. wiping down with nail cleanser. Grabbing my form. Removing the tab. I like to place it underneath. It gives me a little bit more control. And I don't want it to stick together. So I go right under, anchor it, and press it down. And squeezing the tabs. So I have already poured my monomer and polymer in my powder. I just want to show you the brand that you'll be receiving from California Kit Company will be 𝗦𝗂𝗰𝗱𝗀𝗺𝗀𝘀. They do sell a state board kit. If you would like to practice on your own, you can order at 𝗦𝗂𝗰𝗱𝗀𝗇𝗏. And it does indicate that it's for state board, so they do sell state board packages. Now I have to extend it past the free edge. So I'm going to pick up my bead. And because it's odorless, you really want to give it a little bit time on your brush before your application. Odorless is a little bit runnier. So for more control, you can leave it in your brush just a tad longer than regular monomer and polymer powders. So my advice, because you have to now do sculpture removal, don't make your extension too long or too thick. You only have 20 minutes to show sculpture removal. So I'm going to be very particular on my extension application, making sure that it's not super thick. Your state board kit, you can get white powder or clear powder. My recommendation, because of the size of the molecule, is to ask Giovanna from California Kit Company to provide you with clear. The skin is free of product or acrylic, if you will. So make sure that when you're working around your 𝗦𝗂𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏 area that it is, you leave a tiny free margin away from the 𝗦𝗂𝗧𝗏𝗏 area. They're looking for product control, that it's not all over the place. You should have a smooth, balanced finish. Okay, so my extension looks finished. It's not thick and it's not too thin. Let me add just a tiny bit more. You are allowed to take your own acrylic brush, but I was told by California Supreme Kit Company that if your brush has any type of non-odorless monomer or polymer odor, that you may be dinged or points may be removed if it smells too much like regular monomer or polymer. So make sure that you either buy a new brush or your brush is free from odor. So I'm going to close my containers, set my brush down, and wait for it to process. You have 20 minutes. I'm going to go over some things right now while it's drying. If you drop an item, depending on the item that you drop, it's not what you do, it's how you recover from it. So let's just say I dropped a bottle. You would pick it up with a paper towel, grab another paper towel, and sit it on your table. You would sanitize your hands, put on a pair of gloves, get a wipe, and clean the bottle or disinfect the bottle and put it back on your table. Remove your gloves, and then you can proceed with your service. If it's an item that you already used and no longer need to use again, depending on what it is, let's say it was a metal pusher, or let's say it was an orange wood stick. So if you don't need the orange wood stick, you would throw it in the trash, sanitize your hands, and continue. If it's your metal pusher that you dropped on the floor, pick it up with a paper towel, put it in your items to be disinfected container, and close the lid, sanitize your hands, and then proceed with your procedure. What you don't want to do is not do anything. So make sure that if you spill something because of, health and safety, infection control procedures, that if you spill something, you immediately stop what you're doing, clean it up, throw it in the trash, sanitize your hands, and continue. If you do not do that, it could possibly be immediate, failure. They'll let you go through the rest of the procedures, domains, but you might not pass. So make sure you clean up or pick up any of your items. So my form is dry. Now I am going to, and here is before I file. Let's see, it's this middle one. You want to blend it into the side walls. The smoother your acrylic application, the better and easier filing that you have to do. So make sure you have a good balance. Toss that. Now, buff. So I'm using my 180 grit to smooth, and now my 240 side to refine all the scratches. Tossing that. I'm going to grab a Q-tip. And kind of just remove the dust. And that concludes my sculpture nail procedure. And we are complete. Now you will perform a sculptured removal on the nail that you did your sculptured nail on. It could be any of the fingers that the examiner asks you, but you'll be doing the removal on that particular finger. So sanitize my hands, my client's hands. You have two methods. You can use your soaker bowl or you can use your foils. I'm going to use my foils. I'm going to saturate a piece of cotton. With acetone, place it on my foil, wrap it, making sure I secure the top, folding it under. You have 20 minutes for this procedure, so you have to estimate the size and thickness of your nail, how much time you're going to need. Typically, I would say anywhere from 8 to 12 minutes, sometimes 15. The last 5 minutes would be just blending it or removing any of the sculptured acrylic. So we're going to just leave that, and you'll just sit there and wait until you feel that your nail is ready to be removed. So my cotton has been soaking for 15 minutes. I'm going to remove it. I'm going to kind of twist and drag, making sure I'm pulling the acrylic with it. So what you don't want to do, and you can see that the nail is still intact, what you don't want to do is pick up any of these two tools, okay? You do not pry off your acrylic. So I'm just going to lightly remove, because it's gel, it's kind of like a thick inhibition layer. And remember, do not be aggressive with your technique. You can peel that off. You have 5 minutes remaining. And you're just going to show that you're not picking up any tool other than a file to remove the excess acrylic. You cannot pry off acrylic off the nail plate. That is why, one of the reasons why they added this procedure to the test. So if some acrylic is left on the nail, that's okay. as long as you're not showing any use of those tools that are on your table other than a file and a buffer. Okay. So the nail is still intact. Just gonna buff. Toss. And turn the hand to indicate that I have finished. Hi everyone, we are going to be doing a revised blood exposure because they made some changes at State Board and we like to keep you updated. So I'm going to sanitize my hands. So the inspector is going to indicate that I have an injury on my finger. So she's going to tell you what finger. I'm going to use my index finger. I'm going to wrap my finger. I'm going to remove the contents. I got an alcohol wipe, my gloves, and a Band-Aid. I'm going to place a paper towel, and I used a blue towel just to indicate for you to see what is being done. I'm going to open up my alcohol pad. I'm going to open up my Band-Aid just to get it ready. Because remember, you're supposed to have a blood injury on your fingers, so you want to prep all this before you remove your paper towel. I'm wiping the injury, and if you notice, I'm placing everything on the paper towel. There is no bag anymore, and I'm putting a Band-Aid on my injury. And now I'm putting on my gloves. The reason why I put on my gloves is because I sustained an injury while I was doing a client. So this is client protection for yourself and your client. So I'm leaving all my contents on the table, and the inspector is going to indicate that I can remove my gloves. Removing my Band-Aid. And now all you're going to do is you're going to fold your towel up. And you're going to place it in the trash can. And then that is complete for your blood exposure, and those are the changes. You won't find a bag in your kit. So this is the procedure. Good luck. If you have any questions, you can ask. And that's it. So thank you for coming back. So I'd like to give you a few tips to remember while you're doing your State Board procedure. Make sure that if you're going into your duffel bag on the floor, you're going to sanitize your hand. Remember always to open and close your bag. Anything that you open, you're going to close back down. My recommendation is not to do a one-hand method because it might look like you're touching the bottom of your pump. So make sure that you pour the product or pump the product onto your hands. Don't do a one method pump. Make sure that when your inspector is coming to inspect, once you turn your hand around, that none of your disposables that you've used on your procedure are laying on your SMA. You want to dispose those before she comes to inspect your work. Another thing is listen very carefully. Don't do anything or start anything before the proctor tells you to begin. And then just always listen. If one of the tips falls off of your hand, use another finger and do the same procedure you're supposed to be doing. You might lose a point for that because it's not the designated finger, but at least you're not trying to struggle to reattach that nail tip to your hand. So those are the tips for today. If I have any more later on, I will have another video to make sure we have all the contents you need to pass your state board. Thank you for subscribing to Salon Success Academy. So this concludes the NIC Nail Technician 7-domain procedure. Thank you for visiting us at Salon Success. Good luck and have a great day.